Fitness Pro Mentors community, welcome to another episode of the show. Today we've got the Minds on Muscle show with Glenn and I. We are your fitness MBA, and honestly, Fitness Pro Mentors, Glenn and I and Taylor, we're committed to helping personal trainers like you 2 to 3x your personal training practice. And honestly, at the end of the day, the reason why we want you to make more money is so you can have the career you deserve, so you can have more time, help more people. And who doesn't want to help more people but also feel satisfied at the same time? Isn't that nice?
It's the best.
Good old Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Speaking of that, not really that, what we're going to do from the marketing side of things today is we're going to talk about the number one way that we've been changing how we're communicating marketing to our students that has been a game changer, and it's just making everything much more simple. Honestly, it is your marketing secret weapon. And I'll tell you this, if you're not making enough money as a personal trainer right now, you're going to want to listen to this episode, because what we're talking about is helping students, several students last week, get multiple clients by just thinking about this one thing just a little bit different. But first and foremost, hey Glenn, how you doing?
Good, man. It's good. Yeah, life is great. I don't know how much personal stuff I want to talk about, but I'm excited to be here. Finally got the home theater in the basement all set up, and that is in part because we've been killing and crushing it here, and I can afford to do that. And I know I'm excited about it because it's my other passion, and we, not to be redundant, we want you to be able to continue to chase and do the passions that you want and love to do, and that requires income sometimes, all the time, usually. So I'm excited about it. That's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about the being seen thing, is because I think it's something that I struggle with for a long time. You were helping me with that, and even now, I think I told you last week, I said, hey, being seen, the way you phrased that in this video that you sent me is like, it was a game changer. So I'm honestly really excited for this one today. Really excited.
Honestly, I'll throw this out there to anyone that's listening to this. We have a mentorship. We focus on business mentorship and marketing mentorship. We want to help you really have as many clients as possible. The one simple thing that marketing comes down to is you have to be seen. And this is the big thing. And then when you see someone just blow up and they get way more clients really, really fast, it's because in most cases, those people are getting in front of the right people at the right time with the right stuff and the right offer. You have to be consistently putting yourself in front of people. And I'll tell you, and I've been telling this in the mentorship the last little while, I'll be honest, I don't talk about a lot of my money stuff personally, but when I wanted to open Strata, I knew I had to get busier. I knew how much money I needed to open this gym, and I knew that I could probably do it within a year if I doubled down on my activities. I had a goal, and I wanted to succeed. I needed like $50,000 to buy the machines, first and last, all this kind of stuff. So what I started to do was focused on being seen. I don't want to keep saying that, but what did I do? I did presentations. I was in front of a group of people once a month. I talked to one chiropractor and one massage therapist every single month. I was doing my own in-house presentations in the gym that I was renting space from every single month. And I can't remember how many clients I was getting, but I was getting like anywhere between 5 to 10 new clients per month. And it allowed me to save up the $50,000 I needed in around 9 to 10 months to open this gym. The reason why I was relentless to make this happen is because I had a vision of where I needed to end up. This is the idea that Glenn's going to talk about, this CEO avatar thing a little bit more that we've talked about in the past, and why it's so important. You need to know where you want to be to succeed and what success means to you. And if you know that, why would you waste any moment today not working towards that? And the simplest thing, get in front of the right people.
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to. The more you are seen by the people that you want to work with, the greater chances of you working with those people. At the end of the day, sales, marketing, a large part of this is a numbers game. And if you are sitting at home waiting for your people to refer you more clients, like, don't get me wrong, that's a great way to build your business, and plenty of people are full-time exercise professionals because they have such a great referral network. But if you're not someone who maybe has the most polished product right now, or if you're somebody who's not comfortable asking for that many referrals, or any number of different things that are stopping you from getting more referrals, how are you getting out there to be seen by more people? If you know that you have to see 100 people to get 5 people to come in for a sales meeting with you, and then out of those 5 sales meetings, you're good to convert 2 to 3 of them, and you know that the average client that's going to be with you stays with you and trains with you for let's say 2 hours a week, well, then you know how you can reverse engineer backwards how many conversations you need and how many people you need to speak to get to where you want to be. And I really wish it was more complicated and there was some kind of secret to it, but it really is just how willing are you to put yourself out there in different ways and talk to more people to have them come in and see you and potentially work with you.
So think of it this way. Glenn just talked about it's a numbers game. And I think there's a really simple exercise that you can do to be seen and get busier right away. So first and foremost, you need to know where you need to end up. And I would encourage everyone, we're working on trying to share with all of our students a fast track idea to help our students get to 100K per year. Because I think that that's a relatively straightforward goal. You just need to raise your rates to the right point and at the same time work the right number of hours. If you can get to making $2,000 a week on a 50-week work year, you're going to be hitting the $100,000, and it's relatively simple. The truth is you just need enough people in front of you converting and then making sure they're going into the system at the right frequency with the right number of clients so you can get to that point. Okay, so one thing that I asked our students all last week was, if you do this particular endeavor that you're doing right now, for example, one of our students was giving away assessments. They're giving away assessments, and they were trying to give away the assessment to build value, a bit of dog and pony show, I suppose, but at the same time, really value and nurture the client, have them have a great experience with their incredible product and service, as well as help them. And I said, well, listen, if you give away a number of assessments, how many assessments do you give away, and then how many become clients? He goes, well, if I give away 3 assessments, I typically get 2 clients out of those 3. I said, those are incredible numbers. That's a 66% conversion rate. Why are you not doubling down on that? That is being seen, which is the cheesiest thing to consistently say, but think of it this way: it is a one-on-one rapport building relationship where they get to hear you, experience you, get the whole flavor of ice cream that you are. And at a 66% conversion rate, I'll tell you, if you've got something like that, and if you don't have something like that, we got to build something like that for you, and Glenn and I are happy to help you. But I told this client, give away all the assessments you can. Because theoretically, with those numbers, if you give away 12, you're going to have 8 clients at the end of it. And then how many more clients do you really need to be at the point that you want to each month? And if you're not enough, give away more. Give away more. Once you have those numbers, you can do everything. And in most cases, you can figure out the numbers if you sit there, get a little notebook, and write some things down. How much money do you need? How many hours do you need to work per week? How many clients do you need to be coming in each month? If a client leaves each month, what do you need to replace that? And then create the endeavors to make that happen. The thing that drives me nuts, and I get a little freaky and I start yelling, is you're the only reason why you haven't hit these numbers yet. You can have the success that you want. And being seen is relatively straightforward. I got a quote on the board behind me, and I think it's great. Marketing is just sales on steroids. It really is, right? We think about what sales you're doing. Well, you're sitting down, you're trying to determine the values of the individual in front of you, if the product you have is a good fit for them or not, and can you tailor the needs of your product to help them get to their fundamental objective, so to fulfill their pains, so to speak. Well, marketing is the exact same thing, which is way more colors, and it's just way more fun, and you get to reach out to so many more people. And in sales meetings, you speak to one person, hopefully they convert and buy your thing. Marketing, you speak to 100, and hopefully you can have a conversation with 1 or 10 or 20, depending on your conversion. Be seen. But you have to know your numbers. And once you know them, you can make all your actions happen off of it, to make consistent action.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, we don't need to be robotic about it, but it helps to think about being robotic in terms of when you take a look at your numbers and in terms of the actions that you're taking. Because if you are taking actions and you're not seeing more clients come into your schedule, you're not seeing more potential sales calls happen, or whatever you're trying to improve, you know that whatever actions you're taking aren't working. And you know what you can do? Pivot and take different actions. You know, for a long time, I was trying to build my business by just constantly asking for referrals. And like, it was great, don't get me wrong, but you kind of run out of the ability to ask for referrals every month. And I could tell my clients were starting to get a little like weary of it. And I tried some other strategies too, like Brandon had suggested. I go out and I call some of my old clients, and I had touch base with them. And you know, this was kind of during the middle of, if you're listening later on, COVID times, and some people were still a little sketchy and iffy coming in. And then I struck gold. And Brandon suggested to me, he said, hey Glenn, why don't you try reaching out to some other local community people, and why don't you start doing some like live stuff in our group? And what I found was that having other members of our community come in, chiropractors, nutritionists, yogis, all these people come in, really actually helped improve the number of people in our group. We started getting more and more people in our group. I was getting introduced to more and more people. And what I found was, by having more and more people in our group and interviewing these people, people in our group actually started seeing me more as an expert in the thing that I'm doing, even though I was just interviewing and asking people questions. And because of that, some people over time who are now coming, starting to see me as clients, have said to me and mentioned, they said, hey Glenn, I actually really like the interview you do with XYZ person. I never thought about that before. I'm really glad you did that. And that's kind of when I clicked, and it made me realize, like, oh, if I work on these other ways of building up like my expert status or building up my name in the community and reaching out and leveraging a personal network of other people, I can meet some new people that might become my clients. And just last week, Brandon actually mentioned on the last podcast, he said just last week, we have 2 new community connections. We actually had 3. Brandon mentioned a massage therapist and I had someone else, but then I also had my chiropractor come in for an assessment. And now she's going to learn what we do because she's like, I want my people to start exercising, but I don't know who to send them to. I said, great, come on and let me show you what I do. And if it works, feel free to send them here. And if not, that's okay. You learn a little bit about your body. And so we're in the middle of doing that right now. And so anyways, just trying to tell a personal story of like, listen, if something you're doing isn't working, why are you still doing it? Why don't you try doing something different? Because doing the same thing over and over and trying to and expecting different results is insanity. You have to try some different stuff.
So here's an exercise for you, and I want you. First and foremost, I would encourage everyone here, if you are not as busy as you want to, and you're not making as much money as you want, take action immediately towards that. Now, what kind of action do you take? Well, I would encourage you to pick 3 different things to start taking action. 1, where can you take action with your current clients? You have people who are in front of you. How can you farm your current clients for resources? Now, that sounds terrible, but you can ask them for so many different things besides referrals. Hey, are there any chiropractors or massage therapists in your world that you think would be great for me to connect with? Hey, would you be open to leaving my business a Google review? Hey, do you have any business partners or friends or anyone in town that owns businesses that might be open to a lunch and learn and some education? I want to get some information out there. These people who are in front of you are already paying for your time. They are the biggest financial contributors, cheerleaders towards what you do, which is great. They're already invested in you, so they're on board. And if you ask 20 of them and you consistently have some great questions asked, you'll get more resources. 2, how do you get in front of new people? You want to do the honest to gosh darn scariest thing, but you should do it because it scares you. Call friends and family that you don't know very well and past clients and start conversations with them. Heck, cold call people, cold message people. Start conversations with people, that you don't know. Because ultimately, if you can start a conversation with someone that you don't know and have that translate to someone joining your Facebook group, joining your community, coming in for a free consultation, it is the most powerful skill you can develop. Start conversations because it's the most intimate way to be seen by somebody. And then 3, how are you positioning yourself in your community as an expert every single month? And I would almost switch it to say every single week. How are you being seen as an expert for the thing that you do? If you're doing at least those 3 things every single month, heck, every single week, you're going to grow. And if that sounds like simple business advice and you're not doing it, then what the heck's your problem? You got to go do it. Take action. Get out there and make it happen. Because honestly, without sounding to sound crass, your future is a phone call away, a message away, one action away. And I keep talking about this stuff. We keep talking about this stuff. We keep helping our students because honestly, we believe you have an incredible opportunity to have an incredible career, and these simple actions go a long way. Now, there's steps and there's systems in place you can put in each one of those things to increase the likelihood of success with those. But I'll tell you, I got better at selling things by practicing selling. I got better at teaching by practicing teaching and actually teaching. You're going to get better at starting conversations in marketing by actually trying to have conversations in market. So get out there and do it. I don't know, little ranty today, but I want everyone here to succeed.
I think there's 2 ways you can go about this if you are coming up against yourself. And and before I even say that, let me preface this. We talk about the CEO avatar so freaking much because it's really, really, really important. It's actually one of the cruxes of our program. We talk about it literally week 1, day 1, is you have to know exactly who you have to be to have the dream business of your life and your career and start reverse engineering backwards and figuring out what you have to do to start becoming that person, what actions you have to take, so on and so forth. Now, I will say this. There are going to be people who are going to be really, really nervous and extremely fearful of doing the stuff they need to do to grow their business. And you can approach this one of 2 ways. 1, you can lean way hard into it, jump off the cliff, and know that you've got that parachute and you can pull the cord and you're going to float down. You're going to be okay, but it's going to be scary for a moment or 2 while you're flightless. Or you can slowly climb down the mountain and build that confidence slower. Now, what do we recommend here? Honestly, it's got to be tailor fit. We really encourage our students, though, to do their best and to really get into an uncomfortable zone. We really want you to go and make those cold calls. We want you to talk to those people that you're knocking to. We want you to do the hard, uncomfortable stuff because it means you're going to get to exactly where you want to be as soon as you can. And that is what we encourage you to do, everyone to do if they want to grow their business. If you are someone who you just have a hard time getting over, and maybe Brandon's got a different thought, I'd love to hear what you think about afterwards. If you're really having an extremely hard time throwing yourself off the deep end, because some people are, and like, listen, I won't pretend like I know who you are and I know your mental state or anything like that. You got to find small ways to be uncomfortable every day. I used to work at a company, Lululemon, and on their bags, they would have all these different mantras. And one of the things was do one thing a day that scares you. And if you do one small marketing thing a day that scares you, whether it's a social media post you've never done before, you're going live, or you're messaging people you've never messaged before, or you're going out to talk to somebody in public. I mean, I had one of my students this week go out and talk to people in public that they don't know. And I said, hey, just go talk to somebody, you don't really know them, ask if you can borrow a minute of your time, introduce yourself, and just tell them what you do, and then that'll be the end of it. Just build that, get comfortable doing that. And that for some people can be really, really scary. But once they started doing this, it wasn't so bad anymore. And so you can really choose what you want to do. If you can go really, really slow, push back retirement 5, 10, 15, 20 years, or rip the Band-Aid off and go for it. The choice is yours.
I'm sitting here thinking, because, we do talk about the CEO avatar stuff a lot. And I'm thinking, if you're thinking about your future, the way we talk the CEO avatar thing, and maybe this is an epiphany moment, we talk a lot about like, well, what is the dream version of yourself? And I encourage everyone to think really, really big. But I think that the thinking big, it's really, really easy. Like, oh, I want $1 million kajillion dollars. Like it's easy to kind of have that mentality when you're thinking that large. I think it's important to know what in your life has to happen for you to reach the next and or final objective. And if it's retirement, you want to retire in 20 years or whatever it is. How much money do you need to be making today to achieve the best version of your retirement 20 years from now? That's realistic, right? Instead of, crazy, but like say, okay, in 20 years from now, I want to have my house mostly paid off. Because personal trainers don't get pensions. So you want to have a retirement one day, you need to have $2 million in investments paying you dividends so you can get paid, if you're really, really lucky, a 10% return, which is probably not going to happen. But if you can get like a 5 or 7% return, then you're making some pretty okay money living off of that while it's just doing its thing in the bank. So you need to have those numbers in place. Okay, so how much money do you need to pay off your house? What is your investment number that you want to be? How much money do you want to have extra to do the things that you want to do? And then if you know those numbers, you can reverse engineer and go, okay, wait a second, gosh, I'm 45. If I want to make my retirement happen by the time that I'm 60 in 15 years, I need to be making $200,000 a year. And you're like, holy bananas, that's a lot of money. Okay, it is a lot of money. It absolutely is. But how do we take the CEO avatar of you and go, okay, what would the $200,000 a year version of you look like so you can retire by the time that you're 60? And then from there, all the actions start to happen. What Glenn said is, I think it's absolutely correct, and it's a great thing. If you're scared of all these things, make those small steps happen. That's great. But 15 years is not that far away. It is far away, but it's not that far away. It comes down to math. And you get compound interest and all this great stuff with investments and money and houses and markets going up in value. Great. You still need to make things happen today. You still need to make those actions happen today. And so I did a little social media post yesterday talking about why I was working on a holiday. And I have only a handful of goals that are like big, big goals in my life. And one is the most imminent one is we're trying to move into a new family home. And as of 2022, Canada's inflation is insane. Looking at houses that I wanted to purchase 2 years ago are nearly $400,000 more than they were 2 years ago, which is banana bonkers. But I'm going to do everything I can to work towards that goal, not because it's some sort of self-indulgent goal, because it's a family goal. And then for us, once we get there, I'll be able to invest back in that house, and it works towards my retirement, and then. So I encourage all of you, get in front of as many people as you possibly can. Concurrently to that, if success is only defined by a few numbers away, take every step you can to get there. Work on the weekends if you need to. Work on the evenings as long as you're not taking away time from your family. Because if you know that you can make things happen today, do it. If you're even looking at a bill and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to come up with $5,000 by the end of this month or I'm going to get slammed with this giant creditor bill from a loan that I have, What are you doing listening to this show? What are you doing listening to us? Go do some things for it right now and make that happen. In any event, CEO Avatar, it will absolutely help you define your actions. But think of it in less of a dreamy state. And that might be more of a thing that we need to talk about for our actual mentorship. But think of it as, what are the literal pillars that you need to hit in the future? And then how much does that translate into today? Anyway.
No, I mean, like, I don't know. We have to talk. I mean, I know we talk about this, but we have to talk about that because if you don't know where you want to go, you're going to take actions and you're just going to be throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And that doesn't work. I tried doing that for like 10 years of my career, and I don't want you to be that. Brandon doesn't want you to be that. And so one of the things inside of this is if you are stepping outside your comfort zone and you're starting to do different things, you're talking to more people, which can be scary and nerve-wracking. You know what happens when you're in a nervous situation? You default to your basic instincts. You default to what you've learned well. And this is one of the reasons why we talk about systems so much here. And you know it's a version of a system that you can do for yourself? Come up with a script. Come up with a script of what you're going to say to somebody, whether it's going to be online, whether it's someone you're going to be calling, whether it's going to be someone you're going to see in person. Perhaps you're teaching like a group class and you want to invite everyone, have a call to action for them to talk to you after your group class. If you also do group training and do one-on-one, but have a script, because if it's nerve-wracking and it's something that you don't usually do, if you have a script that you've practiced 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 times, when you're actually there delivering it and you're all nervous, it's going to come off just the way that you want to. Yeah, maybe it might come off a little weird the first time, but that's okay. Nothing's perfect the first time. And if it was perfect the first time, probably either got lucky or you weren't pushing yourself far enough.
Here, think of this. Yesterday, in 100 minutes, I worked an hour with a client, made some money doing that. In an additional 20 minutes, I used a social media template to create our podcast art for the interview with Brandon O'Connor this Friday, which is sick, and posted it everywhere, posted it in 3 different groups and 2 different Instagram pages, all within 20 minutes. And I had templates all set up. So it was sort of a script. It was a thing that was already pre-made where I just had to do 2 little edits, clean it up, post it out there in 20 minutes. Another 20 minutes, I had a script, which is a this or that script that we use. And I use it for Fitness Pro mentors. And we've got a version that we use for our Strata Internal Performance group that we share with the mentorship. And that this or that conversation, I sent 25 of those out in 20 minutes because all I had to do was change one thing, just change the enter name here to someone's name. I sent it out and created a very personalized, value-driven message to try and figure, hey, if I were going to help you with something, what would help? This or that. Of the 25 people, I ended up having 8 conversations, which is just over a 33% return on starting conversations with folks, which is great. Those are a bunch of people that I wasn't having conversations with before, all from a template that took me less than a minute to distribute to each person. You can do a tremendous amount of stuff, right? When you think about paid advertisement, they use the rule of 100 to figure out the ROI. So if they reach out to 100 people, how many people engage the slide, the presentation, they opt in, whatever it is. And if you have even one person, that's usually a pretty good statistic from a paid advertisement perspective. So think of that. Of 100 people you reach out to that are cold, you might have a conversation with 1. Heck, if you get 2, you're going to be golden. But that's a lot, right? 100 people's crazy. I only talked to 25, which if I do that every Monday is 125 people per month, which is still a lot of traffic. You got to be seen. You need to be seen. That's pretty much all I got on that.
That's it. You got to go out and see people, right? Practice what you want to say a whole bunch of times and then go out and say it and see what works and what doesn't work. Review your game tape, right? Check out how you performed. I mean, I wish there was magic here. I honestly wish I had something to tell people that was magical. And I know I'm yelling in the microphone, I know. I wish I had something to tell you that was magical, but like really, we know where we want to go. We know what actions we have to do to take there. We take them, we reevaluate, we pivot.
You know what? I think this is going to be a good episode to keep short because I don't want to push this thing along because I'll tell you what, everybody, listen, at the end of the day, you need to be seen.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, our mentorship can absolutely help you have that happen faster. One of our gentlemen, he was having some hard time being in front of people. He spoke in front of a bunch of people, got 3 new clients from one thing. And he just got in front of people and tried something. It was first time doing it. That's freaking awesome. And it's probably more people now because we just talked about it on Thursday or Friday. And it's a few days later. Honestly, just please know where you want to end up and take the steps to happen. Whoever takes the bigger action, this is a cheesy thing, but I'll say that I'm getting older now, but I opened this gym when I was 27 years old. And a lot of people have a hard time believing that. And that's fine. I'm not trying to like talk about age and just making it happen. When I was 24, I knew what I wanted. I knew where I wanted to be, and I had to figure out how that happened. And honestly, it literally took me 2 years to understand the skills that I needed to make the things happen, to save enough money to make this happen. It wasn't until I was 26 that I saved up all that money, but from 24 to 26, I was trying to figure out, how do I refine my sales process to get higher retention? How do I make sure my marketing is consistently getting the ROI that I need? And it took me 2 years to figure that out. Now, launching Fitness Pro Mentors, there were new skills that I needed, and I hired a mentor, and within 3 months, I went faster and faster and faster. So I'll tell you this, you can do what I did, and you can succeed in 2 years, take the time 2 years, and then take a year to build that, or you can do something today and start have it happen faster. And Fitness Pro Mentors, we want to help you, but there's no shortage of incredible skill-based mentors out there. Last thing, be seen.
Excellent. I agree we should keep it short. Love being seen. Brandon, but before we go, we have one last thing we got to take care of. What is your pick of the week?
Yeah, you know what? I'm trying to think of, I was thinking about this and I'm changing it a little bit now based off of this. What I would encourage you to do, my pick of the week is falling in the vein of being seen, and it's picking one platform where your audience is. And I know it's a cheesy skill-based thing, and it's supposed to be like an item or something like that, but I want everyone to think about this, right? You have the TikToks, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the YouTubes, whatever it is. What I want you to do is go into Google, and I want you to, first you got to know the demographic of who your client avatar is. What age are they? Are they 65, 45? Are they affluent? Do they have university education? Even just type those things in and then write social media, and you'll see a breakdown of all the different social media platforms, and Facebook is probably the best in my opinion, but check it out. LinkedIn could have some professionals that you want. YouTube could have different demographics. My suggestion is, my pick of the week is one platform, one product, one message. Be consistent. We're using 2 right now. I'm actually experimenting with 3, but the majority of FPM was developed through one platform. And the majority of Strata was really done a lot through Facebook. We tried Instagram, ROI wasn't high. So it's a cheesy pick of the week, and I don't mean to make it based off of this mentorship stuff, but one platform, one product, one message, and make it rain. Because I think you guys can do it, and if it's that simple, you have no reason to not be seen.
Perfect. Brandon, my pick of the week is a book that actually got recommended to me to, I think, a future guest of the podcast, Roland Pankowicz. I don't know if you guys, okay, great. I wasn't sure if I could say that, but now I've confirmed. Ask for forgiveness, not for permission. And it's a book called, I think it's called The Wisdom of the Shamans by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., if I'm not mistaken. I'll be honest with you, depending on how you see the world, if you're like a very objective scientific person, might not be the book for you. It's a bit more spiritual. However, the thing I love about the book is it's short, it's very digestible, but it's all about your personal growth and creating the life that you want. It's just said in different words. One thing that we're really big on here is telling stories. We're really big on telling stories in order to get information and knowledge across to our students, getting the knowledge and information across to potential clients, prospects, all that kind of stuff. And this book uses stories told by South American shamans to convey points. And I just finished a chapter where it was talking about how the ways of being and different parts of you served you in the past, but they don't necessarily serve you anymore. These things you do, like avoiding rejection, not asking clients for referrals because you don't want them to reject you, served you at one point in time when you were younger, but it's not really serving you anymore, right? Going out of your way to please clients so they don't leave you might have served you as a young kid growing up so your parents liked you and you got extras of dessert or something, but it's not going to serve you anymore. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of great knowledge in this book in terms of how you can grow yourself. And I guess the one thing in particular I'm picking out is, I know this is a little bit going on a tangent, is these things that are stopping you from living and being in your CEO avatar that we've talked about today. These are old ways of being. These are old things that aren't serving you anymore. And it'll behoove you to break through that barrier, because it's going to allow you to create the life that you really, really want and that you're really, really going to love. And that's why my pick of the week is Wisdom of the Shamans.
I got a book I'm going to throw in there too. And I'm going to put a second pick in there because I got something I've been listening to, and it's a product-y thing, and I think it's going to be good. It was recommended to me by Curtis Clay, and it's a totally different flavor book, but it's still a great book.
Sure.
Grant Cardone's 10X. It's a little bit more motivational style book that I typically listen to, but Grant Cardone is a cotillionaire almost. And this book, he's done some really incredible stuff talking about taking an idea and how you would 10x your business idea and make it happen. So I think between Shaman Wisdom and Grant Cardone's pushy car sales style, you get a good mix right there. I think it'd be good.
Perfect. I like it.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to the show today, the Minds on Muscle show. Listen, today was a lot about being seen. At the end of the day, you have all the tools you need to succeed. And if you want to go faster, Glenn and I and Taylor, we want to help you get there. But for today, do something to be seen. As soon as we finish this, go be seen. Go be seen.
Take some action. Go be seen.
Minds on Muscle show. See you soon.
Take care, everybody.